What is going on, everybody? We are back. It is your favorite neighborhood homies with our weekly comic book preview. These are for the comics that actually dropped on the week of the 12th of April. Um, y'all know who it is, man. It's your boy E. I'm here with my brother Ren. We're going to dive into things, man, and kind of tell you what we're reading and go from there. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into the first one we're going to talk about is Fantastic Four #6. Um, nice little Alex Ross cover there, man. That dude, man, he's just I talent just doesn't even describe him, man, when it comes to the artwork that he's able to put together on some of these daggone covers and books for that matter. You know what I'm saying? But um, so in the last issue of Fantastic Four, man, we're starting to get a little bit more information in regards to the story as far as what's going on, you know, why everybody in New York is actually upset with the Fantastic Four. They made the building disappear. Um, the reason why everybody within the Fantastic Four is kind of fighting is because the kids were still inside of the building when Mr. Fantastic made everything just go poof. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a little disappointed though, man. Not trying to be funny, man, but I was really kind of hoping that in some way, shape, form, or fashion, this would sort of tie in with the Spider-Man that both of us are reading right now. Because again, Spider-Man, he woke up in this big, huge ditch. And I was like, that would be dope if the two of them sort of tied together. I'm kind of happy that they're staying separate as far as the stories are concerned. But um the story's just sort of plodding along for me, man. Like, not trying to be funny. I mean, I know that we're only 6 issues in and everything, and they've kind of set up what the story's going to be, but I'm kind of ready for, like, the first 4 issues were all, this is what this group of the Fantastic Four is doing.
Mhm.
This is what this group's doing. This is what this group's doing. Then it kind of gave you a little bit of a backstory. And then we just sort of jumped into, the last issue or whatever. But I don't know, man. I like it, but it's like, when's it gonna pick up? I guess is my biggest thing, man. So I'll give it another couple of issues, man. But I need the story to start to develop and start to get into the nitty gritty about what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? So that we can start getting to the nuts and bolts of what they're going to be doing, who they're going to be fighting. I mean, it's about that time. We're 6 issues in already, so hopefully this one will pick up the pace a little bit for me. So
I'm not mad at it. It's Fantastic Four stuff. It's got its a little bit of comedy here, a lot of action. It's all over the place. So as we get more into the
right,
story, I guess we'll find out what happens. But I'm not mad at it. I'm not, I don't love it and I don't hate it. It's just kind of like, all right, quick little episode issue, whatever. Then let's move on to the next. But the last issue was kind of crazy. Dudes were fighting on the expressway. It was wild, and
right.
they got turned upside down. So that's just odd for me. Like, they're on the street and then all of a sudden it's like bam, a fight, and cats are in the car. Like, imagine being on like I-4 2 whatever this shit is in like Virginia, man, and like cats just start fighting these like superhero beings. I'm like, I'm moving. I don't want to be part of that. But it's
Yeah,
cool, it's
I
cool.
mean, it's kind of, it reminds me a little bit of like how they're doing Moon Knight. You know what I'm saying? So we'll actually talk about that here in a second. But
I like
I
Moon
kind
Knight.
of
I
gave
like
away
it.
the next book that we're going to be doing. But we're going to go ahead and jump into. So this is is it penultimate issue of Little Monsters. Kind of convenient that they're actually going to drop out of this series on issue number 13. I think that's pretty funny. But
Mm.
I don't know, man. Like, this one is, I kind of wish, to be perfectly honest with you, with as much time as they spent on backstories over the course of the last few issues, I'm a little upset that this issue and then one more. You know what I'm saying? I thought that
Mhm.
there could be like a little bit more
More to it.
of the story to it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that, I mean, 12, 13 issues, man, that's like perfect. 15, maybe max for like a mini series. But, in the last issue, we saw that, you know, essentially with the story, you've got the group that's together. Then some of them wind
Mhm.
up tasting human blood. So they kind of break off into a little bit of faction. We've talked about it before. It's kind of like the Lost Boys, you know what I'm saying? And then they start hunting down this girl and her father. Well, her father winds up dying. She makes her way back to the camp, and one of the dudes that's remaining in the camp is like, we got to take them out, man. We can't trust them. We can't. we can't bang with him like that. So we got to go. And so in the last issue, man, like he's making all of the prep while they're sleeping, you know what I'm saying, during the day to go in and basically pick a fight with them, man. You know what I'm saying? So with there only being 2 issues left, like we still I don't know, man, it just feels like there's a lot more that could be said about what happened, what's going to happen. Like if it ends at 13 and it's not an arc and they don't come back or anything along those lines, I'll kind of I like it. I like the artwork, you know what I'm saying? Definitely fits it. You know, that combination of Lemire and Wynn together on the writing and the artwork, man, that just seems to work for me. I know that you're a fan of theirs as well together, but I don't know, man. Like it's gonna feel like there was a lot that was left unsaid. You know what I'm saying? And that's for a series that's been as solid as this one is. It's a little disappointing. So
I'd rather it be not enough than me like, oh my God, like when is this gonna end? Like, get on with it. And I like how you used the word penultimate, yo. Like a lot of people wouldn't even know what that word means, like second to last. You know what I mean? Like, I like you threw out the big word for the fans out there who are not, Webster savvy. I like it. I'm still waiting on my 11th issue because there was some damage to the books that my man Scott got in. So he knows, like, yeah, I'm not even sending it to him. He's a lunatic and he'll just email me back. So he had to order a new batch. So I should be getting mine in this week with this order that I just placed yesterday. So hopefully by Saturday I get it. And I look forward to reading it. I love the artwork, love the story. I'm glad it's short. And if they, bring out something else, cool. You kind of wonder, like, how much can they go on with like a bunch of little kid vampires? Like,
well, it just
it's not
seems
like
like
they
the
can make
last
more. I mean, they can make more vampires, I get, but
right.
it's
It
just
just
gonna be a
seems like
bunch
the
of little
last
kids,
couple
like
of
the Lost
issues.
Boys. Like, I don't want to see like Neverland vampires forever. Like, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, it just seems like I don't know, man. It feels rushed. You know what I'm saying? Like the last 2, 3 issues, man. It kind of like it was the pacing of the book changed. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, like I said, it's been a great read. I'm glad that you and I both jumped in on this one, man. But it's like I said, I think that if they gave it, at least to 15, you know what I'm saying? They could still kind of hash out some of it. So I'm curious to see how they'll close it up, whether or not it'll be a supersize, because that's some of the other stuff that they'll wind up doing. You pay $3.99 for a comic for 13 issues or 12 issues, and then on the last one it jumps up to $8, $9 because it's a double issue and all this other kind of stuff. So I don't know, man. Like I
They got
said,
to get
that
paid.
combination though.
Got to get
that
paid,
combination,
man.
the two of them, man, together though, Lemire and Wynn on this one. Artwork fits the story, and it's a good, clean read. It's not like it's going into a whole lot of depth and everything along those lines, like some of the other
Right.
ones that we've seen recently. So um that kind of brings us though, it's funny, the transition into the next one that we're actually going to go to. Um man, this run has been fantastic, dude. Like,
I like it.
dude,
I like it. I like it a lot. It's quick. It's to the point. It's fun. It's funny. It's got like little comical points in it. Miles is, he's still going through it, man. Like I like the fact that he's not like super
human.
savvy on things. Yeah, like he's just
He's
trying to
human.
like right. He's just going through the motions. Like he's learning as he goes. I've mentioned it before. Like I have a close personal cultural connection to the whole Miles Morales story. So like if there was a superhero that matched my cultural background, it's this cat. He's a
Without
little
question.
goofy than I would have imagined, but you know, I'm cool with it. Like if he was a little bit grittier, he probably would be my favorite character right now. But he's a kid. They bring that out in this story. And it's not the goofy stuff from the first one. The first series, I was into it, but it was different. But like this one is fun. But the villain, like I'm still like irritated with Shorty. Like, how mad are you over the charter school system? Like, let it go. Like, go to a private school or just get your scholarship and go to the university. I don't know why you want to like kidnap people and um cause grief and havoc. Like, you're clearly brilliant. You clearly have gifts, but you mad at boy because he won the lottery.
Yeah, and like the thing with this one, man, Federico Vicini, I hope I'm saying that right. Vincentini, that's it. Is the artist on this one. And the way that he is drawing these panels, it's just it's crazy, man. It's chaotic. It's and it's just fitting the story oh so well. You said it best, man. Like, you know, seeing Miles go through a bunch of stuff. He's a high school kid.
Mhm.
He's dealing with being suspended from school. He's dealing with, you know what I'm saying, girl issues. He's dealing with what you would normally see a high school kid deal with, all the while having to go off and doing it. I mean, it's a Spider-Man story, you know what I'm saying? So it's following the same type of thing that it did when Peter Parker was in school and stuff like that, but it's a little bit this last issue, man, like, the threat of what's going to happen to his family, you know what I'm saying? And the sheer and utter
Mhm.
and like it's the pacing on this book, man, just fits the artwork. Like it pulls you in. I'm very, very happy and pleased with the combo that they have on this book right now. I like the story. I love the artwork. And Miles, just because of the hip hop connection for me, you know what I'm saying? Like that's my connection with him. I mean, I'm a Spider-Man fan to begin with, but just to
Right.
have a younger cat that's into hip hop and things along those lines, I mean, that was my immediate draw to it. And I'm with you, man. I mean, we talked, before about, Glurp and how many different times you could see that on a sheet of
Goofy.
paper. You know what I'm saying?
If I'm saving the planet in the city, like, you're not suspending me. Like, imagine me as a superhero that got suspended or got fired from work. I'm like, F school, F your job. I just saved Brooklyn. Get out of my face.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's going through it, but like at the same time, man, like just I don't know, man. They're doing a great job, man.
Yeah,
It's
solid.
very refreshing to read this after what we read previously. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's a breath of fresh air. They restarted the series up and they picked it up and they kept a lot of the stuff from the last run or whatever the case may be, and they've really cranked it up to another level. I think the best thing that we've talked about, and you're the one that said it, it's nonstop Spider-Man with a decent story though. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of how the artwork and everything is, because nonstop the artwork was fantastic and the story was horrible.
That's when
Right.
I know I like it because I'm just like, oh snap, it's over. Now I gotta wait for
I
the
gotta
next
wait a
one.
month.
That's when I know I like it.
Yeah, and they've done a good job with that, with this particular run so far. So, um, now on to one of your favorites, one of my favorites that we're both actually reading. That is the timeless cover from the fantastic Alex Ross again. Moon Knight is always just an easy read, man. Like it's the story is not all over the place. There's a couple of different things going on. There's independent stories that happen throughout it, but it doesn't interrupt the overall storyline. Um, I'm a big fan of the way that they do these panels. The coloring is just crazy good, man. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's just another one of those books where when you jump into it and you start reading it, it's very easy to get hooked into it because it is a very simple read. Um, but Moon Knight he's raw, so like, you start messing with his people and they're bringing Blade into the mix now, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like that kind of stuff, man, like that it's a subtle crossover that works. He's out here fighting vampires. One of his people turns into a vampire. He brings
Makes sense.
in Blade to train. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like it's not
makes
like
sense.
that doesn't make sense. It like you said, it fits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just a solid run, man, so far. I've been very, very happy with just the overall. And like I said, the independent stories that kind of fit in with everything else, it just works. It just
Right.
works.
Marvel, they gotta do stuff though. Like they got a few winners out there, and then they just got a few duds that I'm like, come on, man. Like this has gone on way too long. Like the Hulk, like come on, you one of my boys, and I can't stand it. But,
new
but this
new
one is
arc,
cool.
new run is getting ready to start for that one though too.
When does that
Can't
come
wait.
out?
I want to say June, if I'm not mistaken, either June or July.
I have to look it
So
up and add it to the pull list.
Yeah, man. So, speaking of books that may have potentially run their course, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be able to stick with this one, man. And it sucks because I like this book.
You done with it
I
already after 12?
I'm a little confused about what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I get it. We had the issue where they all attacked, you know what I'm saying, that one facility, and then they come out of it, they've lost some team members, you know what I'm saying? Old boy's sister just she's now a shade and she shows back up. And now all of a sudden we've got a reoccurrence from my man Bill, you know what I'm saying? But he's not the same Bill that he was before. And it's just she's kind of turning the reins over to her brother because
Yeah,
he is now the I guess he's going to become the
underdog,
main
yeah.
character, if you would, of the series itself, which makes sense. You know what I'm saying? If she's a shade, how much more could she legitimately do? And the people within her company accept her, but who else would? You know what I'm saying? So, um, but it's like every single time that they get vaguely close to solving everything and bringing the light back, it's like, okay, so now we're not ready to finish collecting money off of this. Let's see what else we can do. So I understand different arcs, and I'll be kind of curious to see how they run it with the brother now kind of being the person in charge. Um, but I don't know, man. It just kind of it lost a little luster for me over the last two issues. So I wanted to be good because I've liked reading it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know, man. Like I'll give it another two or three issues to see if this arc picks up at all. But if not, man, I mean, there's so much out there that both of us read on a week in and week out basis, or at least try to anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Might be time to cut ties, but I don't know, man. Like
See, that's why I don't pick up
I'm
a lot of new books because I'm gonna keep it like through the entirety. Like if I start it, and I gotten this far, I just wait till it's done. That way I can have the entire run. And if once I have it, if I really don't like it, then I can just sell it as a set. But like, yeah, after like two, if it's like two issues and I'm like, two, three, I'm out, I'm done. And then I'll just get rid of them or hand it off to somebody else as a gift. But at this stage, I'm gonna see it through. I've got to probably go back and reread it because, like, when you mentioned them, invading that spot and it blew up, and then Shorty became a shade. Like, I missed it. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't compelling enough for me to remember how she turned into the freaking thing in the first place. And then next thing we get a month or two later, it's like, oh yeah, she's a shade. And then yeah, it's a whole bunch of new shades that are like new advanced. And once they get you, like you turn quickly. And then at the end of it, who's the leader? Got tag on Bill again. Like, how was he keep showing up? This dude is immortal.
yeah, and I think the crazy part about it, man, is that when the first arc actually finished, the explosion happened, she turned into a shade and everything like that. The book didn't come out for another 3 months. That lull that we've talked about before, where you've got momentum going, you kind of have us on a little bit of a cliffhanger. And then, this is not broadcast television, people. Like, you can't take a a summer off and come back in September. And there's no you and I are not going back and rereading books. One, you got to dig through everything, you got to find it, you got to remember how far back you'd have to read in order to be able to get yourself quote unquote caught up. You know what I'm saying? So it's just,
Mhm.
I don't know, man. Like, there's some books, man, that when they've completed, like especially a short run, like I want to go back and read Nice House on the Lake from start to finish because I have
Yeah.
them all now, as opposed to waiting 3 and 4 months between. Um, because the story was good. It's just you have difficulty remembering what happened. And again, there's certain books, and we've talked about this before, that probably would be better as a collected as opposed to getting the singles and waiting it out and then forgetting what happened and kind of going from there. When you have that collection all in one, you sit down, you start it, you finish it, and it's all right there for you. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, I've given it this many issues, you know what I'm saying? I'm hoping that this one kind of picks back up where the first arc, as far as the pacing is concerned, a little bit. Um, but if you're going to start developing other characters, then we're going to need a little bit of background on them because you gave us background on the brother sister combo in the first arc. So if you're going to
Mhm.
give us new characters that we need to buy in on, I need to know who they are. You know what I'm saying? So
All right.
that in and of itself might be something that if they're going to expand on this a little bit, that might be kind of the way to go. Um, so speaking of books that are probably going to wind up getting dropped, I give you X-Men. Um, I,
Oh boy, X-Men.
Bryn, what
I'm
do I
gonna just
do, man?
I stopped reading this. I get it every week. It's part of my subscription. I stopped reading it. I couldn't tell you what is going on in that. I just get them now just because I've always been an X-Men person. Um, it's pretty much what got me back into comic books again, as me and Star started reading comics again together. And I haven't been intrigued since House and Powers, to be honest with you. But I still get them. So it's piling up, and I couldn't tell you what's going on. I like the Scotty cover though. Thanks, Scotty.
Yeah, Scotty cover is definitely one, you know what I'm saying, that I'll pull. But I mean, the problem, I guess, one of the issues that I have with this book is it sort of ties into books that I'm not reading.
Mm-hmm.
So I always feel like something happened between issues that I
That you
don't know
missed.
about. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And because of that, I don't feel as if I can legitimately get on board with everything that's going on, man. Like I don't know, dude. It's so hard for me because for me, with this particular run specifically, like I wanted to get into X-Men. You had told
Right.
me about House, you had told me about Powers. I was like, all right, there's a number one coming out. I'm gonna jump on there, and I'm gonna kind of go through. I'm 21 issues in, and all I know is that they all live on an island. There's something going on, you know what I'm saying, up in space. That they touched on that for a little bit. Um, but it's too much, man. Like it legitimately is one of those things where the X-Men characters that I was expecting to be in the book aren't in the book.
Yeah, it's a
So
new
I have no
team.
right, I have no background on who these individuals are, what their deal is, how and why they came to be X-Men. Like I don't have that. And because of that,
Mhm.
I don't have a tie to any of these people. And
Yeah, you're not
it's
invested.
killing me because growing up when we grew up, man, and having the cartoons and everything along those lines, man, like it's hard for me to sit here and say that I'm not going to be reading an X-Men book when I've been reading it for 20 some odd issues. And to be perfectly honest with you, I have no idea what the hell's going on. None
Yeah,
whatsoever.
they get you because, like you mentioned, we grew up. Well, I definitely grew up on X-Men, reading it, and then when the cartoon came out, I was kind of like not a bigger fan as a cartoon as everyone else was. Partly because like Wolverine was one of my favorite characters, and I always have a problem with cats that are like vicious and like ferocious in the book, and then they try to make it a cartoon. Like knowing goodness well, you can't bring that same energy to a cartoon. Like every time he pulled out his claws in the cartoon, I was like, this is gonna be a waste. Because he couldn't do anything. It's the same problem I had with like the Ninja Turtles. I remember when Ninja Turtles came out, like it was black and white and
They
it
were
was
raw.
gritty and it was super raw. And I'm like, there's no way they're bringing this to this. So when they came out with a colorful mask, like before they all had red, and then they all came out with different colors and it was mad cartoony, but Raphael had to be toned down and like no one was getting like slashed up. It was kiddies, and that's the same problem I had with X-Men. So they get you like us, they're getting us on nostalgia value, and it's just not enough anymore. So I'm gonna I'm gonna get it till it's done, and then it's gonna be done. Their main problem, I think they made a mistake after House and Powers, was that it was too many publications that came out, like Excalibur and X-Men, and you had to decide, am I gonna go in, like you said, on all of these series? Like me, I was like, no, I'm just gonna get X-Men, but apparently there was some of the other ones that I didn't even touch that were way better, and I
Yeah,
just
like
didn't
what is it? X-Men
bother.
Red, if I'm not mistaken, was supposedly like one of the better ones that actually came out, you know what I'm saying, of this. I never picked it up. I'm like, yo, it's hard enough trying to keep up with the characters in this specific run just because of the fact that I don't have a tie to them. I Wolverine, cool. Jean Grey, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like those are OGs. Those are part of the original ones for me. But Cyclops, I mean, but seriously, man, like It just, I don't know, man. And the way that they've done the story, like I said, if you haven't read X-Men from the beginning, not just this run, but like the beginning, you're gonna be lost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I keep reading it, hoping that at some point in time it'll all make sense. And it's like they started here and then they're finishing it in a comic that I'm not reading, and that sort of pisses me off. But
I know more and more people that have dropped certain Marvel, series because of that factor. Like I'm at a point now, real talk, that my collecting is going to be different and my reading is going to be different once a lot of these series ends, especially if it's Marvel. I'm tempted to go either straight digital or wait for the Omni if it ever comes out. But with digital, I don't have to like lug around my books, or like reading for me is a process. Like we need to do a video on that. Like it's not like, hey, I right from the store, I throw them on a table and I start reading. Like I got to make sure my hands are washed so there's no fingerprints. I almost damn near got to get a white glove just to like, it's a process. So digital for me is starting to make more sense because I don't have to worry about damage.
Mhm.
My main concern is making sure the subscription is paid and uh make sure my device is charged and waiting till when like, oh, I can wait. Like
And
I'm at a point that I can wait because I don't have a lot of time. So if especially with Marvel, if it's gonna continue like this, there's a few stuff I'm just gonna like, no, I'm not gonna get it. I'll just read it digitally.
Mhm. Yeah, and like I said, I mean, the bad part about it is that for me, and we've had this conversation before, I like the feel of a book in my hand.
Same.
I just
But
do,
I
you
ain't
know what
running
I'm
around
saying?
for these
But
Marvel joints no more, man. Like, and the
nah.
paper quality sucks, Marvel. Fix it.
Yeah, dude, listen to me, man. We'll talk about that in just a second. All right,
Cheap
so
ass paper.
moving along, there is a book that I am reading that Ren is not. Um, this one's
Scott
called
Snyder,
Clear. Uh, Snyder and
my
James
boy.
Tinian. That's those are two dudes, man, that I will give the benefit of the doubt,
Benefit of the
if you
doubt
would, when they
all
have a
day,
book come
all
out, you
day.
know what I'm saying? Because I know that I'm gonna get a good quality story. And this one, man, it's a detective story, man. Like you
Mhm.
have this futuristic world, man, where there's this thing called veils. And essentially what it is people aren't happy with their current lifestyle. It's just like any, some of these other stories that have been out there, movies that have been out there where, people are they tap into the digital realm of things, and they can either be somebody that they've never been before, or they can bring back memories and stuff like that. Well, the main character, he has somebody that's close to him that winds up getting killed, and he's a former detective. And so he starts going down the road of trying to figure out exactly what happened to her. He's somebody that doesn't like veils. He likes to see and remember. And there was a line in the book this time, because I actually read this one already, the second one. Um,
Mhm.
but there was a line in this book where, people go behind, essentially saying that people go behind these veils to forget what happened. And I'm here for the misery. I'm here for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Right.
here to remember the things that aren't here any longer. I'm not trying to live, essentially behind a veil. And the artwork's been really, really good. It's bright,
Sure.
it's colorful, you know what I'm saying, when it needs to be. Um, the one thing that I've actually noticed recently is that there's been some books that have been coming out where it's very hard to distinguish which character is which, because there's a lot of similarities in the way that they're being drawn and the way that they're being colored and things like that. And if it's a brand spanking new story where you have no background, everybody knows who the hell Wolverine is. Come on, man. You
Right,
know what I'm
right,
saying? But it's just one of those things where, like, you have to, like, I loved the first issue of that Sherlock book, but it was
okay.
very, very difficult to follow the way that the story was actually going, because the characters and the way that they were drawn and the way that they were colored and everything, they all really looked alike. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that book's been dropped. I read the second
What?
issue, and after I got done with the second issue, I was like, nah, screw that. I'm not buying this one again. I would love to see where the story goes, but I can't look at any of the daggone artwork whatsoever, because the way that I tend to read a book is I look at the panel first and then read the words. So I've got a
Hmm.
concept of what's going on the panel, and then I go in and try and, then find out what the deal is behind it all. So with this one, man, it's very, very the characters are very distinct. The writing, I mean, it's Scott Snyder, dude. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to tell you what kind of writer
Right.
he is. Um, but it's just one of those things, man, where like he's he's kind of pulled me in because now I'm at the point where I got to see it through. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely recommend this to people that are a little open to trying something a little bit outside maybe their comfort zone. It definitely is not a superhero book. Dude gets jacked up in the first issue. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
um, but it's pretty decent, man. It's pretty decent so far. Um, the
Wait, so the
next one that
Moriarty joint wasn't good?
the story was great. The artwork sucked. I'm
Oh,
out.
I could have told you that.
I'm out. Can't do it.
Okay. All right.
Can't do it.
That's fair. That's
Um,
fair.
this is a new number one that's actually dropping this week, man. And of course, you know that the only one of these covers that I don't have, man, is that Chewbacca joint. You know, he's got
For real?
he's got three different ride covers. He's got this one, he's got the one that came out for the Marauders, and then he's got the Chewbacca one with him and Han. And the only one that I don't have right now is the Chewbacca joint. I gotta try and get my hands on that. If
I didn't
anybody out
send
there
that to
has it.
you.
Nah, you were at the shop one day and showed it to me, but
Oh, why didn't you say something?
well, I mean, at the time I was like, oh, I'll be able to get it. You know what I'm saying? And now we're 2.5, 3 years into 4 years into all of this, and I still haven't been able to find the
Oh
doggone
man.
thing.
All
So,
right. When I'm out, I'll
um,
look.
I am going to read this one though. I did, initially I bought it for the Scotty cover. I like so this is going to be kind of one of those I'm doing things in reverse. I like the movies. I like the characters in
Yeah.
the movie. I've never read a Guardians of the Galaxy book before. I ha- I have it. So I'm going to read it. And if I don't like it, it'll get tucked away with the rest of my Scotty covers and I'll move on. You know what I'm saying? I won't
Right.
think anything about it at all after that, So with that kind of stuff, man, I'm like I said, I'm gonna give it a shot just because I got the cover. So see what it's about, see what's going
All
on.
right.
Um now I do have one little surprise for you that I am going to ask you to sort of um give me your take on, if you would, because I know that you have been waiting for this book here to come out, and the Omni finally dropped for House of M, which as we go down this road together, you guys will eventually learn is one of those comics that this dude next to me over here absolutely positively loves. So I am
Yeah.
going to sit back for a second and I'll let you kind of take the reins and go with it from there.
All right. So like when House of N originally came out, I had gotten away from comics for a while. Like I was just into other things and it wasn't something that was a priority. And it wasn't until my youngest daughter got into comics reading Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is funny because that was one of the series that I had and in stock when I was a little person. So it's funny that she picked it back up and that's like her favorite stuff. But anyway, House of M it was a clearing of the deck. And a matter of fact, I just got that Omni like this week. I just posted it on Instagram because it just came in the mail. And I have been waiting and waiting and waiting for this storyline. Because,
And that's the cover that
as
you got, right?
no, I got the other cover,
Okay. All right.
the variant cover. So House of M is people don't understand how powerful Wanda was. So like when WandaVision came out, people were like, if you haven't ever read or knew anything about Scarlet Witch, you're thinking, oh, this chick, she just, got this red glowing, blah, blah, blah. She's incredibly powerful. Like she's almost Omega level, like dangerous. And in this story, they figure it out. They're like, yo, if this chick loses her marbles, which she's losing her marbles, they were like, she could end all of us, and she's going through this whole process of losing her kids, and her and Vision got stuff going on. The Avengers are plotting against her. She doesn't trust people, and then all of a sudden they start freaking out like, yo, should we murk this chick? Like these superheroes are sitting there figuring like, yo, is this chick that dangerous where we might have to take her out? and they're contemplating. And this is Magneto's kid, so like even Magneto has to like think about this. Yo, is the whole again? This goes back to the Last of Us conversation. Like, are you going to sacrifice yours for everybody else? I'm telling y'all, you're in trouble if it comes out to that decision. I got to decide between all of you and my babies. You're everybody's screwed. Goodbye, good night. It's over. So they're contemplating this whole story. Long story short, there's some arguments about it, asking her, like they want to ask her, like, yo, how do you feel about this? Like, how would you feel if somebody like, yo, we might have to kill you? Like, how you feel about this? Like, these are the dialogues that are happening in this storyline. And then she's like, lost. I don't want to spoil for people, but this is where you'll get the whole no more mutants. There was an abundance of mutants anyway. Like, there were mutants coming out of the woodworks. Like, I remember in the 80s, it was the X-Men, and then, they Cerebro out there, and he's helping, find these people, and then all of a sudden, it's like half the world's freaking mutants, and they were like, this is too many. So in order to try to focus back on, like, the main characters, which you alluded to when you just talked about the other stuff, like, there's too many of these cats running around the planet. So this chick just utters a phrase, no more mutants, and the population decreases to like under 200. That's it, like gone. And then it's just a sequence of like people like remembering stuff. Whole segments of like the X school were like, I don't have any powers anymore. Like, imagine that. Imagine being able to launch lightning bolts out of your fingertips 1 minute. Next minute, you're like, damn, I just got a big pencil here now. I can't do it. I got to draw bolts now. So House of M is a special place for me because it's the House of Magnus, and that's Magneto, and he's probably my favorite Marvel character, period. So it's probably Magneto, Doom, Hulk, in that order. Like, Magneto is like the Malcolm X of, mutants. He is. Like, he was about his stuff and his people. Like, and it wasn't like, I'm not trying to assimilate. I'm not trying to be, I'm not even trying to accept y'all. Like, listen to how this sounds. I'm an Omega level being. You're just a politician. We're not at the same level. And the fact that you hate me or don't like me because I'm great is problematic for me. So that's why me and Magneto, like, I will rock with that dude. And like, I don't care if he's in pajamas, I'm rocking with Magneto. So if you haven't read House of M, I strongly recommend it, or find some kind of like recap of it, but it's definitely worth a purchase. And if you're an Omni collector and you like Marvel, you should have it in your collection. I got mine this week and I have been waiting for it for a while. It finally dropped in January, but due to finances and broke teacher stuff, I couldn't get it till just now. So matter of fact, I didn't get it. Thank you, Mom, again, for saving my collection.
Jeez, Gladys. No, and you know what, man? It's important though that when you have a story that you really do appreciate, one that you really do like jump on board. Like we were talking about it, not too long ago, man. Like, the hardcover for the Many Deaths of Layla Starr dropped. You know what I'm saying? That's only, 6, 8 issues or whatever the case may be. But I have the trade, but I want the hard copy. I want the hardback of that book. You know what I'm saying? Because that is one of my personal favorites. You know what I'm saying? So because of that, it's like you almost have to have it. You know what I'm saying? And so I remember when you and I, God, it must have been what, October, November, man, when we were doing dry runs on this. I showed that to you and showed you the drop. And I remember you writing it down on a sheet of paper and saying, if I don't get any other Omni, that will be the next one that I get.
Yep, I'm looking at it right now.
When I saw you posted that joint the other day, man, on Instagram, I was like, hell yeah. I was like, my man got the joint. And y'all got to understand, man, like he's been wanting this to come out for a while now. And so, not trying to be funny, man, like when he says the money side of it, man, like you can expect an Omni to be anywhere from, depending on the number of issues that are in it, anywhere from $75 to $175 if you get it when it drops. If it's one of those harder to find, you could wind up spending a couple $100 just trying to get your hands on a book. And then when you get it in, it's like you don't want to read it because you spent so much money on it. So on average, I would say what you think comes in roughly around between 125, 150 on average for in Omni,
It
roughly?
depends. If you get it originally, you can get it under $100. Typically, like that's the way to do it. So you have to have a list. I make a list of stuff. Like I know when stuff is coming out, and I try really hard to get it on launch because you can get it under $100. And if you miss it, it'll sell out quickly, and then it's
Mhm.
aftermarket prices. Like I could grab my Planet Hulk and World Breaker stuff and sell it right now. Those two books, those two omnis, and I could probably get $500 easy, easy, because they're out of print unless they bring them back out, which I heard they might. But
They
the
are.
original one, yeah, the original, if you can get it, I would get it. But I got the original ones, and if I sell them joints now, which I won't, and it's crazy prices. So there's a couple on my list that I still have to get. Um, and then I'm hoping that people remember Father's Day and Christmas because my birthday's passed, so that's that. But
Or
yeah,
just
I got a
because.
list for y'all. Yeah, or just because anytime you want to shoot like these places, you know who you are, Omni people that's out there on, sponsoring other cats on YouTube, like hook your boy up. I'll speak about it all day. But until then, you get no shine.
Yeah, man. And I mean, like I said, the good part about that Omni though is that in most cases it puts, like we talk about the stuff with Marvel where it's all over the place over a couple of different books. When you grab an Omni, it's all right there. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that's essential to the story
Yeah.
is in one place. You know what I'm saying? So all right, so
I was
everybody,
having
that is going to do it for this episode of the Homie Trinity in regards to our comic preview for you guys. Um, Again, man, like always, man, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, do everything that y'all are supposed to be doing, man. Do it for everything that y'all are out there following that y'all don't even really care about. You know what I'm saying? But more importantly, man, let us know what you're reading. Let us know what you think. Um, Give me a book to read. I challenge you. Give me a book that you think
yeah.
that I would like, and I will let you know, and I'll give you a shout out. You know what I'm saying? If it's something that's good. If you give me a book to read and I buy it and it's garbage, I'm gonna joke you on this channel. But for the most part, I'm willing to give a book a shot. So um as always, man, I I got to turn things over to the hype man, though. You know what I'm saying? It is, and at one point in time, I'll get him to record it, but I don't mean no harm. I love seeing him do it live because this is the MC of all MCs, if you ask me. So, Ren, go ahead and tell them how they can hit us up on them socials.
So check it out. You already know what time it is. It's not 420, which it's not even close to the best date in April. It's 413. So on that day, remember your boys, your favorite neighborhood homies. We are here to provide you with all kind of shenanigans, comic books, TV, show reviews, all of that jazz. We're gonna get really like in depth with the stuff we're about to put out. So if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't hit the notification bell, if you haven't tuned in to the Homie Trinity podcast, then I challenge you to change your lifestyle and get with your people today.
Absolutely.
Homie
Absolutely.
Trinity podcast.
As always, man, we want to thank y'all for joining us, man. Hope y'all have a good one, man. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
Peace.